So we just bought this house, and one of the things we wanted to do right away was add some shelving and clothes rods for the closets. We've got 3 closets that we had to work on here, and none of them really had any appreciable amount of shelving, and a couple of them were missing the rods. It was a pretty straightforward and easy project, and I wanted to just go over it quickly in case anyone else is interested in doing this kind of thing for their own home. Now, the first thing we did was take measurements for each of the closets, but the supplies we needed were really just 1x4s, and we were able to calculate out how many we would need and divide up. And then we got some of this board. It's sometimes called melamine board, sometimes just called shelving board. It's got kind of a thin plastic-like coating on the outside. You can see our list here where we wrote everything up. Now obviously it's going to be different for every project, but here you can see we just went room by room and got the depth and the width for each of these closets in the places where the shelves are going to sit. Alright, here you can see the melamine boards have been cut to the width and depth that we need for each of the closets, and we've got the clothes rods there right next to them, cut to length as well. You'll want to cut those a little bit shorter than the full distance of that closet to allow space for those end caps. Okay, and we've got over here the pieces that these shelf boards are going to sit on. We'll see that in a minute. We put a little edge on them to make it a little bit more decorative. All these cuts can just be made with a hand circular saw. It'll be a little bit nicer if you've got a table saw, but there's not too much concern, and since it's going to be in a closet, it's fairly forgiving anyway. Alright, let's look at some of the before and after shots and talk about some of the details. So here, this was the main bedroom, the master bedroom closet. Really small, and you see they just have the upper and lower rungs right there for hanging clothes. A lot of wasted space there. There's not really any place to put anything here either. You'd have to step over it to get to the clothes on the rods. Alright, so here's the closet now. You can see the rod extends all the way. There's still enough space that we can get back to those shelves at the back. And we'll talk here in a second about how those went together, but they are just the boards sitting on top of those 1x4 boards that we cut with a little slant in them. We'll show a close-up of that here in a minute. But that gives us 4 surfaces with those 3 shelves that we can stack a lot of different clothes and other items on. Alright, here's the second closet, and this is the before. This is the only one that had a clothes rod already in place. So we'll zoom in here a little bit and take a look. On the far left, this is where you'd expect to see some of the shelving, and there's really only shelving at the top. So a lot of space for hanging clothes, but not a lot of space for anything else. So that's where we want to put that new shelving. Okay, and here's the closet now. We're going to actually swing out and take a look at this nice window we've got. New home to us, but a 120-year-old house, so it's nice to give it some love and bring it, update it just a little bit. Alright, so we added 2 shelves down below, and you can see those here now, taking up a lot of the stuff for the room, and we'll show a close-up of that intersection, the 1x4 that it's sitting on. And we're going to zoom in right here. Got a little bit of slow-mo going on. So there's the 1x4. You've got to use a stud finder, find where those studs are in the wall, so you can do your attachments right there. Now, as a finished look, you can go by, go out and get some primer to prime these boards and just paint them white or whatever you want, just to flow in with the rest of the area. But it gives a nice finished look, somewhat professional look for the that closet, at least as much as you need for a closet and for something really simple to do as a do-it-yourselfer. Alright, here's our final closet. You see we're missing that rod going across again, and if we slide to the right here, we'll see that there's a rod just sitting up on top of the 1x4, just giving you the one layer of hanging space and nothing really down below, no shelves. Another issue with this one is that the closet door opened in, taking away about half of the actual square footage. So here we're going to swap around that door. I'm not showing that in this video, but that's something to keep in mind for other closets when you're doing work on these. Try to keep the door opening out. You can see the closet rod was installed there. You can see these brackets. I slowed this down quite a bit. And we put in a couple shelves again. We've got 3 shelves again here, giving us 4 surfaces. A couple final notes to make in this video. A normal height to hang that rod at is usually between about 68 and 70 inches. So you can set the top of that bracket right about at 70 inches, and it'll hang down, it'll hang that final location for the rod a little bit lower. Similarly, those shelves, we ended up putting them in about every 25 inches. So if we'd measure up from the ground about 25 inches, and our floor is a little bit uneven, so we'd measure up to that point. That just gives us approximately where we want to put it, and then use a level to go across and mark kind of an upper position for the 1x4 that we're going to mount. So that gave us a level location that we can use as a guide to put our 1x4 in place, and then we just use a stud finder to find, locate those studs in the wall and use those as the positions that we want to fasten to. And so we did that on both sides. Make sure we've got a nice level surface. Then even if you've got a little bit of variation from left to right, as long as it's a level surface on both sides, that board is going to sit in there nice and straight. And unless there's a huge variation, you shouldn't have a lot going left to right. If you really want to be more careful, you can take that level directly across from left to right to make sure that that's going to be exactly level as well. But overall, it made for a really quick and easy way to put these shelves up and together. And they came out even, I'd say, cleaner and really close, especially for the age of the home, than I was expecting. If you do end up having any gaps on the sides, you can finish that either with like a quarter round molding, just the very thin semicircle, just a quarter of it molding you can put up there, or even just a bead of white caulk would be fine. Depends on kind of the level of finish that you want for that closet. So that's it for us, really. I was hoping this would be helpful if anyone else wanted to take on a really easy closet job. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to help in any way I can. Thanks again.